All right. Well, let's meet up sometime. We should talk offline or whatever.
Yeah,
Come
yeah,
to El
for
Monte. There's a good
sure.
restaurant.
Yeah, this is great. Yeah,
Cool.
cool. So, all right, let's make.
Awesome. Thanks, guys. I was trying to multitask and get the recording going. I apologize, just so you know we're recording now. Who else to
Well, I
jump
might
in?
I might as well introduce myself. Yeah, my name's Dan Busta. I fly out of El Monte, California, which is just like east of downtown Los Angeles. I have I'm kind of a new owner of a Tri-Pacer 1956 150. And my favorite memory of Oshkosh, well, when I was real little, I went there with my dad and he won him and his buddy split. They bought 10 tickets each for the raffle, and they each split the tickets up, and his best buddy won the Cessna 150 that year.
Whoa.
That was pretty cool. Yeah.
Whoa.
Yeah.
Nice.
So I've been flying since I was a baby with him, and he used to be an airline pilot, and so in his memory, I got my license and got a Tri-Pacer. So yeah.
Oh, cool. Awesome. Thanks, Dan.
Mhm.
I
Who else
guess
wants?
I jump in here, I guess.
Yeah,
I'm
sure.
Jerry Densmore. I'm in Rapid City, South Dakota. I'm rebuilding a 59 and part owner in a Comanche 250. Uh, Not going to Oshkosh this year. Been the last 3 years. First time I went was 78, I think. I still got one of my paper ID cards from back then.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, First experience with the Tri-Pacer was helping a guy convert one, put tail wheel on. He didn't like to do fabric, so I helped him with that. And that airplane is still setting up now at the field up there in Anchorage. He took it up to Merrill Field. So,
Cool.
but I've flown 3 or 4 of them and kind of enjoyed the little things.
Cool. I'm planning on doing a trip to Rapid City here in the next week or two, just to stretch the Tri-Pacer's legs before Oshkosh. So I have to
Yeah,
maybe I ought to
I
get
had
your
to
contact information. Yeah.
I had to go down to Greeley
Yeah.
week before last, and we ferried a Baron down.
Okay. Yeah. I fly to Greeley for breakfast all the time. Cool. Thanks, Jerry.
Yep.
Who else would like to jump on?
I can kind of say my word.
Go ahead.
I'm Bill Green. I live in northern Michigan. I've got a 1949 Piper Clipper. I rebuilt in '02 with Clyde Grant here in Michigan. It's got 150 horse in it. And I guess my memorable moment at Oshkosh was I was there the first year that Russia brought their aerobatic team over. They brought it in a big, all the planes were in one big plane that they had them stored in. And I had I think he was 8-year-old son at that point. And a guy was climbing down from the upper deck down into the bay of the airplane, and he couldn't speak any English. And I just looked, I pointed at him and pointed at my son, who I had in my arms, and he reached out and I handed it to him, and I got a picture of him standing there smiling, holding my son with a bewildered look on his face because he didn't know this guy at all. And that was probably my finest moment at Oshkosh.
Very cool. I was at that too, when all the pilots wore these real cheap polyester beige flight suits. Do you remember that? Oh
Yeah,
my
yeah,
gosh. Yeah, that was cool.
yeah.
And
Yeah, he had on jeans, but they probably were a quarter inch thick, the material. And I noticed that right away that
uh,
he
cool.
was overwhelmed. I give him just a ballpoint pen, just a normal like big pen. And he looked at that and he was so overwhelmed to be
Yeah.
able just to get something like that.
Different times, huh? Yeah,
Yep.
cool. Thanks, Bill.
So, hey, Bill, you say you're Northern Michigan. Is that Northern Michigan Troll or Uper?
No, I'm a troll. I live about 55 miles south of the bridge.
Okay, my last 6 years in the state were up in the UP,
Oh, yeah.
but I'm from Mount Pleasant originally.
Okay.
I'm a reformed troll. I have one daughter that's a Youper.
I have a grandson that was a Youper, born a Youper.
All right. Who else would like to jump in?
Well, I'm Tom Anderson from, I
Well-
currently live in Mason, Ohio. I've been here for about 50 years, but originally from Michigan, went to U of M up there, and from the UP originally is where I went to high school. So, but that's been a long time ago.
Well,
But I have a 54 with a 150 in it that I've had for 35 years now. Clyde Grant put it together for me. He was my father-in-law, and so I took it apart and he put it together before I had a license, ticket, or anything. All I had was my degree in aeronautical engineering, and but learned a lot from that guy. And he happened to be my father-in-law, so I got a good deal on it.
yeah, right. Cool. Awesome. Thanks, Tom. You got an Oshkosh memory, Tom?
Well, it's been a while since I've been there, and I probably won't be going again this year. But generally, when I've been there, we've managed to fly in before the thing started, a day or two before the NOTAM would go into effect, and we'd sit there and watch the landings and snooze under the wing. Very pleasant time if
Yeah, I love that. Yeah.
if you could do that.
Well, awesome. Thank you, Tom. Thanks for joining. Who else?
Doug Walter.
Walter.
I'm down in Florida, West Palm Beach, Palm Beach Gardens, 53 PA 22 with an 0290 D2 in it. And I just have a couple. I introduced myself, I guess, 2 of these ago. Are you guys recording this, and can they be
Yeah,
seen on YouTube somewhere?
yeah,
'Cause
I'm recording it, and I'll upload it to YouTube, probably not till Friday because I'm out in the middle of nowhere. But
so
it's if you search on YouTube, the YouTube channel is called Short Wing Wednesday
Short Wing Wednesday.
or
Okay.
Wednesdays, I can't remember, one of those two. It's published in the that last email that Tom sent out, and
Okay.
also in the next Short Wing news, I'll have that blurb in there. So
Okay.
I don't know how much, what do you call it? Not bandwidth, but storage space that YouTube allows, but I'll keep posting them as long as they allow me to do it. So
Yeah. I just was curious if there was something said about the rudder post.
when we did the first, or probably the middle of April's YouTube, we talked a lot. Stephen and Tom talked extensively, and we'll probably circle back and talk about it in another couple weeks here.
Okay.
Yeah, maybe another month or so. Yeah.
Very good.
Or go to the convention.
Oh, there you go.
Because we all got to do it, I guess. So
You heard Steve. Go to the convention.
I would love to go to the convention, and unfortunately, my wife and we leave. I guess the end of June. We'll get in the car and we drive. We have a place up in Canada, so we got a lovely 26-hour drive ahead of us, and we're up there for 3 months or so. So the convention, I believe, is right at the end of June. I just don't have time to fly up there and fly back.
June 15th. Stop on the way up.
We're driving. I could come by car. Yeah, that I could do. But
Drive through Pennsylvania. Everybody wants to go there.
and
Yeah.
I would love to just drive to Canada and get out of the car and get on Big Bird and fly back and get my plane and fly up and then fly back and Big Bird back and drive the car back. But it turns into a lot of work. So it just stays in the hangar. I pickle the engine and let it have a little rest.
There you go.
So,
Cool, Doug. Thanks for introducing yourself. Who else would like to go?
thanks for recording all this for us.
Got
Appreciate it.
Hi, I'll jump in here. I'm Ray Eaton from actually about 100 miles probably south of Bill Green. I used to be up in Indian River and moved out of there. But I have a Colt, totally restored, and and looking forward to hopefully spending a couple days at the convention, the latter part of the convention.
Cool. Cool. Any Oshkosh memories for fun?
I'm say again.
Any favorite Oshkosh memory if you've been?
Oh gosh, I've been over there so many times. Every time I go, it's kind of a favorite. But I haven't anything super unusual except that my grandson is in the Air Force, and he was there last year for the week with the experimental. I think it was an X-15.
Wow, that's pretty cool. Wow. Awesome. Who else would like to go?
Unfortunately, I haven't been there yet. Oshkosh has always been a dream, but I haven't made it yet.
Yeah. Cool. Cool. Go ahead.
I'm Steve Carruthers from Livingston, Tennessee, kind of in the middle of nowhere, but I've got a 53 Tri-Pacer that's being restored. I've got a 56 that's flying, and I've got a home built. So a little bit of everything.
How about Oshkosh memories, Steve?
Well, I got a couple of good ones. I got to fly in with my son when we did the 22s and 21, but probably my most favorite Oshkosh memory was getting a gold Lindy in 94.
Nice. Nice. Is your son Matt?
Yes.
Matt? Okay, I see him on Facebook. I didn't know if that was he belonged to you or not.
How many Carruthers do you know?
I don't know. And also, I just realized after the fact that I think I was in your neck of the woods a couple weeks ago with my my nephew graduated from Tennessee Tech, and I went to their graduation. Yeah,
you were in Cookville.
Cool. Yeah.
Yeah.
Cookville seems to get hit a lot. We just took vacation at Cookville. What is the thing about Cookville?
It's a great place to be.
It is.
We love visitors. Come and leave your money and go home.
Get the hell out of here, huh? Who else would like to introduce? We got like about 6 or 8 more minutes.
Paul, can you hear me?
Yeah, Paul, barely, but we can hear you.
Maybe, how's that? Maybe I got to get a little bit closer and keep the computer on.
Yeah, it's pretty harsh. We barely can hear you.
Yeah, and let me turn the bottom. Maybe that helps, huh? How's that? Better?
No. Sounds like you're talking through a sock.
That's too bad. Yeah, I'm the treasurer of the Truckling Piper Club.
Okay.
I've flown my airplane to Oshkosh about 4 times now. Well, 3 times.
Okay.
2 bronze Lindy's and a whole bunch of awards at the Truckling Piper Club.
Nice.
My wife and I are flying to the convention next month, of course. And my friend Ron Stonewall reminded me to tell everybody we need a little bit of help at the Kite Club table this year. Will be absent. So that'll leave me, but leave me and Dan, I guess. That's about it.
All right. Cool.
Yeah.
Thanks, Paul.
Got time for another?
Yes, sir.
Scott Sellers here in southeastern Wisconsin, Racine. We have a PA-22 150 that hasn't flown in a few years, but it's about to be flying again in a couple of weeks. Just put a whole new Garmin panel in it, which is a major project. But the question I had for the group was, we've got the new, I think it's Dakota Cub fuel selector that offers the both option, and wondering about people's experience with that.
Not legal
in particular people.
Not legal in a Tri-Pacer.
Not legal?
Not legal.
Oh.
I know
I don't have that, right, Scott?
I know they have an STC.
Yeah, but we got all the paperwork for it, and it'll get signed off. So
read the FARs. To have a both position, the vents on your fuel tanks must be interconnected. On a Tri-Pacer, they're vented caps. They are not interconnected. It is not legal in that airplane.
Thanks,
does the FAA know that?
Yeah, the FAA knows that. It's their regulation.
Probably there in FTC somewhere if you read it.
But they list the airframe as an
That's something
acceptable
like yours is?
application. So
Well, they
all
do
right.
that, but you also got to grind the living pee out of it to make it fit the airplane. It's not an STC, not a replaceable item.
Oh, okay. Well, ours fit right in. It was just it's
What
fit right
about
in there.
what about the mall fuel selector, Steve?
It's both not legal in a tri-pacer unless you interconnect the vents.
Okay, well,
I wish we would have known that before we put it in.
that's what I have in mind, so I'm not changing anything.
But what's your question about the Dakota Cup fuel valve? You can never turn it off unless your airplane is perfectly level. You know
Why is that?
right?
Why is that?
Because the off position connects the right and left tank. So if your tanks are full and your airplane's not level, it's going to cross feed and overflow the low side.
Sounds like a Cessna to me.
Sounds like a piece of crap to me.
Well, Cessnas do that every day, right? So
right. If you get the same exact same price, if you get the Univair fuel valve, it's a drop-in replacement, bolts right in. You don't modify anything, and it's got the two off positions and right and left, and a really nice detent.
well, I wish we would have talked to you before we put this thing in.
Did you say that was a Univair valve?
Univair, yes.
Okay.
Yeah. So our question was, so we've got the belly tank and wondering what the right way to use the belly tank and that fuel valve is, but apparently the whole thing is not acceptable. So
well, the belly tank works just like it always did. You burn the right tank down to your half or less. You switch to the left tank. You pump the ox tank back up into the right wing.
yeah, exactly. That's what I figured, but I wondered if anybody had experience doing that, and apparently not.
No, it won't feed from that tank. You have to pump it up to the right wing.
Understood. But our thinking was that once you had it pumped up there, then you might switch to both.
Well, you can switch to both, but it won't feed evenly.
Yeah.
See, Cessna has an interconnected vent, so the tanks will burn fairly even.
Well, Steve, I got to tell you,
will not.
You're talking about I'm a 30-year Cessna owner.
Yep.
Don't talk to me about burning evenly out of the tanks, man. It's just not a thing. Those interconnects are a freaking engineering nightmare. They don't work at all.
Oh, I know.
And Cessna will be the first people to tell you that.
Yeah, but wait till you try it on a tri-pacer.
Yeah, well, I don't see how it can be any worse because the Cessnas don't feed, particularly those Cessnas, the earlier models, actually even the later models with the single vent on the left side. I mean, it's a disaster. So, choose your poison. My favorite memory is as a child, I was 3 years old. We went to the 1964 World's Fair in my dad's 1959 tri-pacer.
Oh, cool.
Got family video of it too. Kind of fun.
Oh, cool. Nice. We went to that World's Fair also. We lived in New Jersey at the time, but yeah, cool. Thanks, Scott. Yeah. I'm in your boat. I've got the mall fuel selector with the gooseneck fuel caps. So, yeah. All right. Who else would like to go? We got time for one or two more.
Jim, real quick for you, because this will end in a little bit here. I've been keeping a list. I just want to see if everybody doesn't get through this. I'm going to name off the states real quick here that we've covered in previous meetings. So far, we've got about 25% of the country covered in a couple countries. We've got Missouri, Texas, California, Colorado, Connecticut, Florida, Idaho, Ohio, Iowa, South Dakota, Michigan, Tennessee, and then we had Ireland and two provinces in Canada, Saskatchewan and British Columbia. Anybody? If you don't get to it, if you could put your state in the chat, I'll record it. If it's not one of those ones I've mentioned.
I think we got Wisconsin now too. I just heard.
Yeah, Wisconsin.
Yeah.
And we have Ireland here.
All right. God bless you, Jerry.
Ireland. I said Ireland.
Yeah.
We have Ireland here.
I wouldn't forget Ireland.
You should
good man.
Ireland. We should.
You don't sound like you're from South Dakota, that's for sure.
Cool.
Hey, Ray,
well, thanks everybody. I think
Eaton.
we're at the juncture now where we'll maybe do one more introduction and then charge on to the evening's topics. How's that sound?
Sure. I just was going to real quick ask Mr. Eaton there in Nettles. I think he's the only one in Florida. Do you go to the Old Fart Flying meetings on Thursdays?
No, actually, I I live in Michigan. I winter in Florida, 5 or 6 months. But and I know the handle on the screen is Nels Island, but I'm actually in Michigan.
Do you bring your plane down in the
No,
wintertime?
I don't.
Okay. Very good. That's all. Every
Oh.
Thursday I go to the Old Fart Flying lunches with Roger Brown, and we have a great time. I just hadn't met you there, so
Where is
thought I'd
that?
ask.
Where is that? Where'd you say that was?
In Florida. We go to a different airport, whatever, to eat every Thursday
Oh, okay.
from like November to April.
Okay. I'm located near Fort Pierce.
Yeah, I'm just a little 45 minutes or so south of you. And I live in Palm Beach Gardens, and I keep my plane at Indiantown.
Oh, okay. Sure.
So not far away.
Yep. Been
Let's
there.
do one more introduction and then we'll go on to the rest of the agenda.
All right, can I come in here, Jim?
Please. You're my hero.
I'm in Ireland and I'm flying a PA-22-160 EIAEY and an L4 EIBSX, and currently rebuilding a PA-12 EICFF. And I've got some bad news on the rebuild on CFF this week. It came back from the sandblaster and both longerons need to be replaced. I had a couple of emails backwards and forwards with Clyde Smith, and I'm waiting to get a photograph from him of the tool that he uses to cut out the lower longerons from the clusters. So that's keeping me busy at the moment.
All right, Jerry. Well, and again, for those of you that didn't catch, I mean, it's what, 12:30 in the morning in Ireland right now, Jerry? It's like 1 o'clock in the morning now.
It's 1:04 in the morning.
So come on, we could get the gold medal for that. All right, cool.
Thank you.
Thanks, Jerry. So let's now talk about the evening's kind of two items on the agenda, I guess, and then open mic. But the first one was just that last call for the Short Wing Piper Club convention. If there were any questions or last minute comments, I wanted to open up the floor for that.
Do y'all recall? I think the convention coming up was a topic on one of the previous Short Wing Wednesdays. Do you remember the date of that so I can go back and watch it?
It was, I believe this. I don't remember, man.
Month
I think
ago.
it
was two episodes ago, so not last one, but the one before that.
Right. So it
Okay.
was about a month ago. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. I just now remembered that. Yeah.
April 30th.
Somehow or another, I think I'll maybe go into that YouTube channel and see if I can do a summary of what each meeting's about. I think there's a way I can do that. So maybe that'll help. Yeah.
Okay.
Cool.
Yeah, there's an April 30th, so I'll take a look at that. I'm calling right now around the hotels. That hotel, the Best Western, somebody already snagged that room. So still searching.
Try the Comfort Inn out. It's a little bit west of the airport, but it's not too terribly far out.
Okay. Comfort Inn. Thank you very much.
It's in Hill something.
Comfort Inn.
There's a Comfort Inn and a Hampton Inn. They're right next to each other. They're right off the interstate.
Is that in Lock Haven?
No, it's next little town over. Let me see if I can get something to work here.
I know we're
Hall.
staying
Mill
there
Hall.
at the Comfort Inn, Steve.
Yeah, what's the name of that little town? Do you remember?
Not right offhand, I don't know.
I can probably find it. Is there any camping?
Yeah, I think you can camp with the airplane.
Okay. Okay. If worse comes to worse, that's what.
Mill Hall.
I'm
Mill
sorry?
Hall.
Mill Hall. And is there
Okay, thanks.
showers and everything there? If you camp?
Yeah, down at the Sentimental Journey site, they got some showers.
I asked Andy, and you can definitely camp, and there are showers.
Yeah.
Okay. Thank you, Melissa.
Very cool.
Awesome. Any other last call kind of items for that Short Wing Piper Club convention?
The registration is still open. You can register online. As you just heard, hotel rooms are harder than hen's teeth right now to get, but registration is still open. So, like to see you guys there.
Cool. And the meeting place, where's the like the meet and greet kind of introductory place, Steve?
Well, we'll all register at the museum, but
Third floor of the museum.
Yeah, the meet and greet will most likely be down at the end by a Sentimental Journey.
Okay.
Under the big awning down there.
Are we going to try a park together?
Well, yeah, the Short Wing Piper Club. We're there before the convention gets there before Sentimental Journey starts.
Oh.
So we start on Monday. They don't start till Wednesday.
Oh, Monday the 16th?
Yeah, that's when we start.
Okay.
That's
okay,
arrival
perfect.
day.
Gotcha. That's why. Okay. Now that explains why the hotel was booked on the 17th.
Yeah.
Okay.
Just heads up for anybody that's flying in there. Check ForeFlight or whatever you use, because if you're landing to the west, it's a right-hand traffic pattern.
Okay.
When you get there, it's not hard to figure out because there's a mountain south of the runway. But you'll figure that one out pretty quick. But I've seen people do it. The other thing is there's a parallel grass runway. You can land on either one, but no simultaneous landings. So space it out. If you're going to land on the pavement, somebody's landing on the grass, space it out so there's an interval between you.
Yeah, they're right next to each other, so that's the reason they do that.
Yes.
All right. That's it for that agenda item. I just wanted to make sure there were any last minute questions for the gang here. The next topic for the evening is our Oshkosh AirVenture kind of planning items. I just spitballed a few thoughts that we can put out there. And again, this is not me presenting as much as just kind of sparking conversation, but I thought we could at minimum talk about maybe where short wings generally park or some parking options, whether or not we want to do a cocktail hour or cocktail hours at a specific location, maybe a night out. Maybe have all of us kind of share, for especially folks that haven't gone to it many times, what you must sees at the AirVenture convention, and then even in the Oshkosh area for folks that maybe you're bringing your significant other and they don't necessarily live and breathe airplanes like you do. I thought we could talk about arrival and departure tips, and maybe even some ideas for practicing the arrival and departures beforehand. So again, these are just ideas I brainstormed myself. If you've got other items, by all means, chime on in. So the first one, the other slides. There you go. I thought I had a bullet for that. So my first thought was just assuming that you're coming in your short wing, parking options, or where we generally park. So if you haven't been to Oshkosh or whatever, you kind of know that it's massive. Most of us short wingers, I'm assuming, will want to park in the vintage area. I kind of cut and pasted this graphic. It's not the clearest one in the world, but it's the best I could find, and with minimal effort. Just to kind of maybe describe, I know that a fair number of folks will, let me see if I can annotate this without messing it up. Here, I know a fair number of short wingers will park in this area here. I know also, I've seen a couple guys park in this area. Well, that's not bad. I'm not doing bad. I generally, if I'm camping, I'll camp here. And if I'm flying, I generally camp here or try to get in early and camp right around there. But is there any other areas that folks that maybe congregate more or more frequently at Oshkosh where I should recommend we park? Or what are your thoughts?
Well, parking is really not optional. If you want to park in vintage camping or vintage, you put that in the window and they park you. The only way to park with somebody has arrived with them.
You're gonna get stuck wherever they want to put you. You run out of room in a hurry.
Man, Paul, we just can't hear you with that mic setup. I'm not sure what's going on.
We worked on it. I don't know what's wrong with it. I'll get my wife to work on it.
I can barely hear. We heard you say your wife's going to work on it.
Yeah.
Let's try it one more time, buddy. Yeah.
Well, I don't know what's wrong with it. Yeah, they'll park you wherever they want to anyway. They run out of room in a hurry.
You know, I know that because I've volunteered for the flight line before, and I know that's the party line. But at the same token, you've all seen it where, I don't know, I've seen it where air coops will park close. I used to fly an air coop, and they park it close to like the air coop parking. I can't remember if it was there or not, even though you didn't arrive together. So sometimes I just wonder whether it's, it's all first come, first served, wink, wink kind of thing.
I was out there for the Clipper, what was it, 60th, I guess. It was 2009. And some of the guys, somebody had made arrangements. We were like, we had rock star parking in vintage aircraft parking. But the thing is, you make your reservation, you say vintage aircraft parking. I always go in a couple of days before the thing starts. And then I know I'm going to get my place. If you don't go in ahead, and no matter what you got in your window, if they're out of room, you don't go there. So
Right.
That's all I can say.
I know that from the last 2 years now, and last year they were pretty staunch about it, that they're not even letting you reserve a spot. You can't rope it out. Even they don't care if you paid money for it. You got to have your plane there or a tent there.
Yeah, no, this was the club that had done it. I don't know, Steve, if you remember anything about it, but for the 1949, so it would have been 2009. I was.
Yeah, the problem with Oshkosh is it takes years in advance to put something together to get, group type parking.
Well, I do know that next year the Comanches are celebrating some year. I can't remember what if it's 65 years or whatever the heck it is. I don't know. And I know for a fact that Comanche Town, the Zoom folks there at Comanche Town, have the first 10 rows of vintage reserved for Comanches next year.
Right, but
stunning.
That was done years in advance.
You're exactly right.
If you guys are going out there now thinking you're going to be able to park together, like Steve said, you have to arrive together. It's first come, first serve. And I've always gone in before it opens just to know that I can get it vintage aircraft parking. Just that is what I'm
I understand. Yeah. Yeah, I know CJ's been working on it for, I think, 2 or 3 years with the Comanche group. So I get it. Yeah. So maybe, I don't know if there's the next big deal anniversary, maybe we think about this in the future. But even so, is there a spot where we can
congregate?
Yeah. I mean, what do you think? I know we got the tent or the table or whatever.
Yeah, you could either go to the Type Club building, to the table, or just meet at Tall Pines.
Yeah. And maybe we just use a word of mouth kind of thing if we decide we're going to do something like the next agenda item of cocktail hour. Again, that's what the Comanche group does. And again, I used to belong with that group. And maybe we just figure out, we take one volunteer named Steve Carruthers, and we congregate at his plane, whether he's there or not.
What we can do, if we want to put something together, we can just put a note at the table, Type Club table.
Yeah.
Even, Monday, say, hey, Wednesday, we're going to meet wherever, at what time.
Yeah. Great idea.
Because people swing through there anyway. That'll make sure they come through.
Yeah, no kidding.
It's been a while since I've been out to Oshkosh. What is a Type Club table?
In the vintage hangar, the big red hangar right there on the corner.
Okay.
If you go in there from noon to 5, it's open, and all of the Type Clubs have a table in there. So you stop by, and like Paul said, somebody from the club hopefully will be sitting at the table, and get you to sign a book saying you're there. And new people, new members coming through, or potential new members. We have things like the Short Wing Piper News, some old copies to give out.
Yeah, it's right.
And answer questions.
This orange box here, right? Yeah. I think that's it. It's awfully blurry, but yeah.
All right, thank you.
Yeah, let me erase this.
Yep, that's it.
Yep. So, okay, so we put up a sign or some sort of poster that says cocktail hour is going to be at row 102 or wherever you happen to be. Is that fair enough, Steve?
Sure.
All right. The second idea I had, and again, I don't want to force this on anyone or whatever. If it's no good, if it doesn't work, it doesn't work. But I was just thinking maybe we organize a group night out, whether it's somewhere off-site, like fish fry somewhere at Wentz, or there's 100 different places to go. Or maybe we go to the SOS beer hall tent and just muscle our way in and try to figure a night out if we wanted to do anything like that. Love to hear the group's thoughts on that.
Is Wentz a chain? Because I'm pretty sure there's one of those at Spirit of St. Louis Airport.
No, I don't think so. It's a shot. It's pretty much a shot in a beer joint, 51 weeks out of the year, and then it just gets inundated. They've got a pretty good perch fish fry there, so they'll have. I think we're kind of to Melissa and Steve's point. If we tried to get a reservation for a group, we probably need to reserve that 5 years in advance. But it's not. I've gone there with asking for a table of 15, and you wait 15, 20 minutes and get there. So I'm sure we could get a picnic table or two. Like I say, it's a shot and a beer bar with a few tables, but then they have 15 or 20 picnic tables out back for Oshkosh, for AirVenture.
Is that the one out by the seaplane base?
It's a little further south. Yeah. It's a little further south towards Fond du Lac.
Yeah, you go past the seaplane base. It's a couple miles down past there.
Yeah,
it's a pretty good place. EAA chapter. We always go out there every year.
Yeah, there's a couple good fish fry places out there. It's just, I think the challenge we have with that is if you fly in, then you got to get transportation and figure that out. We certainly can get Ubers. It's a lot easier now than it was 5 years ago to get an Uber, 10 years ago to get an Uber. Or we even go someplace like Friar Tuck's that's right outside. You take the school bus that travels around. I don't think I have a good map of that area, but that could be another option. And the SOS Brothers is at Camp Shoal, it's within the grounds. I don't know if they have. I've never been there. I don't know if they have food there. If it's just liquid.
They have food.
Do they? Okay.
Yeah.
So who's got thoughts? I don't want to be driving this bus. The old saying is, you stick your toe in the water, you become the lifeguard. I don't want to be the lifeguard of this. Thoughts or questions?
General question here. I know that Oshkosh is not exact. There's a lot more women at Oshkosh than there used to be, but I am traveling up there this year with my wife. We're driving up there and staying at a place up at just north of there, or whatever. But if we go to this thing, I'd probably take my wife. Maybe not if it's just all, well, she's comfortable with pretty much everybody, but I don't know if I found out. I'm just kind of curious if the folks that are going up there, if anybody's taken significant others.
My daughter-in-law will be there.
There you go.
And my son will be there, but my daughter-in-law will be with him.
I took my lady friend to Oshkosh 3 or 4 years ago, and afterwards she told me how wonderful it was, and I said, "You want to go next year?" And she said, "Thank you." She said, "Thank you, no." Oh, there you go. Yeah.
I always explain Oshkosh as being just like Sturgis without the drinking and without the bawdiness. So a lot fewer women, no motorcycles, but so it's just a right. It's just a big group of people that like airplanes, like they do with. I don't know if anybody's ever been up to Sturgis. I've never been there.
Yeah. Well, I was thinking, I was looking, and I'm being selfish because I got the PowerPoint, right? But I was thinking the best night, at least if you try to juggle a bunch of things, it seems to me like Thursday would be the best night. Wednesday is the fireworks. There was a thing going on Tuesday. It just seemed like, most folks are still there Thursday. A lot of folks start heading home Friday. So maybe what are your thoughts? Can we do, I think it'd be fun. Maybe just someplace that's not a nightmare to go traffic wise and is reasonably family friendly. So it's there. I don't think I've never been anywhere in Oshkosh where there was debauchery. Although that one time with the Russians, we did go drinking that night, and ran into the
I
Russians.
don't know. Have you seen Patty Wagstaff on the airport?
Oh my God, you didn't really. For real. That was a lot of years ago.
Yeah.
The Thursday works great. I think Wednesday and Saturday the big air shows, right? Because we got like VIP, whatever that covered area is, and
Yeah.
I couldn't do it Wednesday or Saturday, but Thursday would be great.
Yeah. The Wednesday night, that's the night air shows on Wednesday and Saturday. Yeah.
Yeah.
Right. Saturday's when John Q. Public comes in and nobody wants to be there.
Yeah. Well, let's do Thursday, and then let's just how about should we try to make a decision tonight on where we go, or we want to maybe revisit it on the next Zoom call, and we can do a vote or something like that?
Well, yeah, let's do a little research and see what's near.
Yeah.
But Wednesday sounds like a good time to drink. I mean, to watch the night air show.
Yeah.
Go.
Yeah. Yeah. The night air show is pretty good. Yeah.
Do you know if any of these places will take let's just say we got 20 people together. Do you think any of these places would actually take a reservation so you're not waiting there for an hour and a half waiting for a table?
I'll take the action in the next few days to call. I'm meaning to call Wentz and just see, because what do you think? 20 people, should I say?
That's safe.
I would think that's a good starting point.
Yeah. Cool. All right, let's do that.
I'm kind of not hearing a lot of other people from what we got 20 plus people on this one. I don't really hear a lot of other people chiming in right now that.
Yeah, I'm for sure not going to be going to Oshkosh this year. I'm just tuning in because I've enjoyed these. So that's why I've kept my mouth shut. But yeah, I would say if people aren't chiming in, then perhaps they're not going to be going.
Yeah, I know. I was afraid of that, Melissa. Yeah. I want to take up a collection to get Jerry out here. From Ireland.
I plan to go.
I was at Oshkosh last year, not next year, not this year, but probably next year.
All right, cool. I want him to show us. Yeah, maybe.
It's gonna be a long flight in a tri-pacer.
Yeah.
So I'll be there, but my clipper is still in pieces, so my clipper won't be there.
Okay, let's do that. So then I'll call around, see you, and yeah, maybe I'll just do the 20, and that way you can bring your sweethearts and whoever else. And I usually gather together with 10 or 12 buddies out there, so I can certainly fill a room full of fish fry eaters. How about ideas on must-sees at the convention for the folks that don't go that often or have only been a couple times?
There's one area. This is Greg here, but there's one area that I really like going to when I go there. We all know where the museum is, but they often have an area back behind the museum with a bunch of parked, I guess it's their antique, real old airplanes that are not being exhibited inside, but they park them out there right outside the exit. and you can walk up to them, put your hands on them, look at them closely, and get the smells and the sights. I really I really like going out there and walking through those planes. That's really neat.
You talking about Pioneer Airport?
Yeah.
It's not Pioneer. It's at the museum. It's across from Pioneer.
It's right behind the museum.
Yes, right behind the museum, right there.
Yeah. Yep, that's Pioneer.
Well, no, it's not. It's Pioneer's on the other side of that grass strip.
You're talking back like where the school buses come around and
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, right there.
Those are the airplanes they move out of the museum for the event.
Okay, cool.
So
yeah.
Outside.
I'll tell you one thing I like doing, and you know, you might have to invest a little time, and time's precious there at the show, but that pilot proficiency center that they opened up a couple of years ago with all the Redbird simulators is pretty nice. And you can sign up for some sessions with flight instructors and shoot some instrument approaches, and they're actually loggable. It's something I was going to talk about a little later on tonight anyhow, but I think that's an interesting thing to see at the convention if you're not familiar with it. It's the
I guess my vote would be it's a little bit of trouble to get out there, but it's definitely worth seeing the seaplane base.
Oh, that's what I was going to say. It is absolutely amazing. I was lucky enough to spend 3 nights camping there back in 2017 when I didn't have a medical. A friend of mine made arrangements for me to see Dr. Scott Russo, and sent all the stuff so that I was able to camp at the seaplane base. It's like otherworldly. It is phenomenal.
It's just so idyllic, and there's a shuttle bus from the main grounds that'll take you out there and back. And once you're there, they have a pontoon boat that you can go on a free ride that'll kind of take you around the circle where all these planes are moored. So even though you can't walk around the planes, you can float around the planes.
And the bald eagles are catching the fish out of the lake. Oh, it's fabulous. Just fabulous. Highly recommend going to the seaplane base.
Yeah. I'll second that.
Very cool. Very cool. What else? What other must-sees that maybe you're a little off the beaten path?
I really like the stole competitions that they did. I don't remember. I was a little drunk when I went there the last time, but it was pretty cool to see that up close and personal.
Were you a little bit drunk, or were you a little bit drunk, or a lot drunk?
I might have had to have been carried back to the camper. But,
Jason, you going this year?
Yeah, I'm going this year.
All right, you and me, buddy.
Yep.
I agree. That's a great recommendation. That stole competition is just beyond amazing, isn't it?
Yeah, they put you so close to the grass strip too. It's just, I mean, you can see them, you can see everything they're doing. You know, all the rotor pedal movements and everything. So
exciting. Cool. How about the Oshkosh area? I included this, like I said, in case you're bringing other folks who don't eat and drink aviation. I've got one idea just as a thought is as two of my buddies that go out every year, they fly us 172 out there, but they're both retired fire chiefs for pretty big districts here in my Denver metro area. And the Oshkosh Fire Trucks Factory, they did a tour there, and they said it was the most amazing factory tour they've ever been on. Now, they're firefighters, but still, I've heard that tour, those guys just gloat about that tour to just do if you're looking for something outside of the air venture. I think also, is it Sonics that has a factory nearby? I think they also do tours. Yeah.
It's on the Oshkosh property.
Oh, okay.
In 2009, I went up there for the EAA leadership thing they do over the weekend, And on the final day before they took me back to the airport, they took a group of us through Sonex, and it was a cool time to be there because on the one hand they had um, their first electric airplane that they were working on, and across the back of the building there was this big black drape, and they said, "Stay on this side of the drape, no peeking." And that later turned out to be their first jet.
Oh, wow. Cool. I know a bunch of us guys will, and I don't want to dominate the conversation. I'm sorry if I am, guys. I know a bunch of us guys will usually take a trip up to Appleton, and there's this Italian restaurant up there. It's just a funny story if you can humor me for 90 seconds, but it's called Victoria's. And one of my best buddies, he's a full-blooded Italian guy. His last name is Capone. So that tells you how Italian he is, okay? So John Capone goes there and he would tell you how they make their sauce like my grandma in wherever the heck in Italy he was from. He just goes on and on. It's the most authentic Italian sauce he's ever had in his life. So he wants to talk to the owner and tell him how phenomenal this Italian food is, just like Grandma Capone used to make. The guy comes out and he's an immigrant from Mexico. Him and his brother, these two Mexican immigrants, came out to talk about how they opened up the Italian restaurant, and there's not an Italian history in any of them. So we just think that's the funniest thing in the world that Mama Capone makes. It's probably ragu.
We have a great restaurant, Italian restaurant here in Clearwater called Granadinos, and it's all run by a Mexican family, but it's excellent.
Oh, it's phenomenal. These guys couldn't have been nicer, but we just always, thought, all right, like I said, it's probably ragu spaghetti sauce that they use. Anyhow, any other Oshkosh area must-sees?
Anybody ever been to like the, I guess there's must be a used parts section. Matt York, who's converting a PA-22 to a 20 right now. He's going to like take some landing gear up and other parts and says I guess there's a fee you pay when you go in. I've not been to that part of it before. Has anybody ever been to the used parts? It's not really a swap meet. I think it's for sale.
Yes. Yeah. It's sort of like a tag, like a flea market sort of thing. I was there, but again, we're going back 2009 was last time I was at that. It's really like a flea market from what I saw.
It's called the Aero Mart.
Thank you.
Okay.
If you want to get parts, it gets pretty picked through. So you want to go first thing. You want to go right first day, basically. Otherwise, it gets really picked through, and you're basically just going through a bunch of junk. Honestly, unless you just want something to decorate your office or something, you can find stuff like that.
Ditto what Jason said. That was one of my favorite activities at Oshkosh was all the used equipment, and you find a lot of things that you will not find anywhere else.
Mm-hmm. So that's another question I had for you. That when the first time I went there, I was with my family, so it was pretty much just RVing it up there and trying to keep everybody entertained. But for this one, I guess, is there anything like that you should attend first, or should you go see the vendors first? Do they have more stuff available for sale earlier in the week? Or I know Steve was saying that the air show on Saturday is overcrowded by people that are coming in, so the Wednesday air show is probably a little less crowded. Anything like that you have to do at the beginning of the week or tail end of the week is better?
No, I go to all the exhibit buildings during the air show. I don't watch the air show in the afternoon. Once you've seen it once, you've seen it forever. Mm-hmm. So everybody goes out to watch the air show. I go in the exhibit buildings because they're not crowded then.
And you want to go into the exhibit. You want to go into the exhibit halls for the air conditioning, or there's some air conditioning areas, and depending on how hot it is out there, boy, that's worth its weight in gold.
Yeah, you have to go by you have to go by the aircraft spruce. I won't call it a booth. I call it's a huge installation there, and get a free T-shirt.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I can't think of any places that run out of stuff. Usually, if you're shopping for some vendor items, there every now and again you can get some deals on that Saturday. as they're starting to close up, or even Sunday morning. But usually the more mom and pop vendors will knock off some price.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But Greg, with the money I've spent with Aircraft Spruce, there's no T-shirt in the world that's free from them.
Well, you might as well get something. But
Well,
it's iconic. It's iconic. You have to have the Aircraft Spruce T-shirt.
Hey, Steve, just think of it this way: you're saving on shipping costs when you pick it up there.
I just drive down to Georgia and get it.
You know it's bad when because I live in a suburb of Chicago, and so there's a location probably 35 minutes from me. When I go in, and my all of the people in there know me, my wife, my daughter, and my son. When we walk in, they you know by name and birthday and everything. It's bad. It's good and bad. Right?
All right, let's move on. I want to knock out these last three before we run out of time, if you can humor me. But I think for those of you that maybe it's your first time in, arrival and departure tips. Obviously, the NOTAM's out. If you go on the EAA website, you can send away for a printed copy, or you can download the PDF. And if you've never done this, man, you want to read it and memorize a lot of, I did anyhow, the frequencies and so forth. If you're flying in the craziness, when I'm flying in, I usually try to get in before the NOTAM is even effective, just because I love watching the whole show. Like Melissa said, get there a little early. I know where I'm parked, and you just watch the whole show come to life. I love doing that too. I know, just as a quick funny story, we generally meet about 10 or 12 Iowa farmers out at Oshkosh every year. We have for a couple decades now. And one of the old Iowa farm boys, Paul, he just passed away last year, so this is going to be the first year he hasn't gone. Has an old J3 Cub that he'd fly into Oshkosh. And it was not that long ago. I'm saying maybe 8 or 10 years ago. Not that long ago, where we were having breakfast and Paul is talking. He'd flown his J3 Cub into Oshkosh for years and years and years and years and years. And he's telling us at breakfast about 8 or 10 years ago. He says, if you guys ever seen that pamphlet that the FAA puts out, he said, I just got a hold of one of those this year. It's the greatest thing. It shows you where to congregate and the railroad track. He's describing the NOTAM. So the dude, I don't know what he did for the decades beforehand, but he's one of those guys that we were cursing at, like, what's this idiot doing? I mean, the guy didn't have a radio anyhow, but I just thought it was hilarious that he finally dawned on him in his 70s that they actually had a NOTAM out there. So, yeah, you might want to go ahead, Steve.
If anybody is going for the first time, I highly recommend going early, going before it opens, but only 1 or 2 days. So go when they've got the NOTAM up, because it's really pretty cool to, yellow and white 170 was my first time, white and red high wing Piper, wag your wings. I mean, it's really cool to do it. That's all I
agree.
say.
Yeah. The NOTAM has changed, so you should get it and read it.
Yeah.
Oh, totally. You have to. And the other thing is, especially if you're a tail dragger, if they change traffic pattern because they've got a mass arrival, don't be afraid to say tail dragger unable. Been there, done that. And they will clear the way for you, because they don't want to cause you doing 25 knot crosswind. So don't be afraid to say, you can't land with a 90-degree crosswind at 25 knots, and they'll give you the runway. Then they're done that.
Very cool.
And it goes without saying, keep your eyes open.
Oh, yeah.
Because you never know what's going to come out when you don't expect it.
Yeah.
There's this guy's Cub friend that didn't know anything about the NOTAM. There are people coming in from under you and over you. They're overtaking. I've never flown in by myself. I always have somebody watching with me.
Yeah, and if you've never done it, I mean, this is a screenshot of ADSB traffic going in, just to give you a little bit of a feel. And that's, as you can see by the graphic, it's pretty zoomed in. So yeah,
Yeah.
it's kind of nuts. Um,
Keep looking.
yeah, yeah.
I would have one bit of advice. So last time I was there, I took off on runway 9, heading east to cross the lake, and they had just opened the airport because visibility and fog, and it just lifted. Now my personal minimum is 6 statute miles, and so I got in line, and then you're taking off several abreast, and I was doing just fine until the lake. And suddenly I lost the horizon and I'm in total IFR and I'm not IFR rated. So what do? You pucker up a lot. And I fairly slowly made my turn to the north and got out of the traffic pattern, but I was just damn lucky. So plan on losing your visibility when you go out over the lake because you lose the horizon.
Yeah, I think one thing that they advise, it's pretty obvious, but before if you're coming in for the arrival, to make sure you got full fuel before you start, because it's not unusual to be in a holding pattern for an hour or so. Or somebody breaks down, or there's a mass arrival, or whatever the heck. F-16s want to do flybys. That's relatively common.
Yeah, you'll probably see more Green Lake than you care to.
Yeah.
And
also, go ahead.
I can offer one arrival experience. The very first time I flew in my Grumman was 1989, and the reason we were up there is because the Grumman owners have had an annual convention somewhere around the country every single year since 1975. And in 89, it just happened to be a little north of there, up in Cable, Wisconsin. So I'd flown up to attend the convention. Turned out that was the largest Grumman turnout in history for any Grumman convention. They had 144 Grummans on the field.
Nice.
And a group of 5 of us got the idea and said, hey, we know a bunch of these guys are going to come down to Oshkosh after the convention. Why don't 5 of us fly down together the day before and we'll stake out an area, which they allowed us to do. And so 5 of us took off midday, and we're flying in there and everything's going smoothly. We get to the pattern and everything's fine until they put us behind 5 air coops. And we're turning our butts off out there, just trying to maintain our clearance from them. But ultimately we did. And they let us stake out the area due north of the north-south runway. And by the end of the week, we had 80 Grummans parked together on that one spot of land.
Cool.
So that's pretty memorable.
Very cool.
Which model Grumman are you talking about?
Well, mine is a 1972 AA5 Traveler, 150 horse, 2,200 pound gross weight, 4 seats.
Yep.
But it has undergone a massive transformation. It's now referred to as Bobcat. It has a 200 horse engine, Dynon glass panel autopilot, and it's going to appear in the August issue of EAA Sport Aviation.
The reason I asked is I soloed in and flew the AA1, and I tell you what, I've learned that you should spin that.
That's right.
The reason is that the main spar is a big pipe, which is also the fuel tank. And if you get into a really full-fledged spin, the center of gravity shifts. There's not enough rudder to bring it back.
Yeah. Well, the real problem is if you've got like half tanks, and once you start spinning, the centrifugal force throws all that fuel out to the wingtips. And now you've created a moment of inertia that cannot be overcome by the rudder.
Bingo.
And
You got it.
And NASA conducted hundreds of spin tests for that airplane, and had to use the recovery parachute frequently.
It's a fun plane to fly, though.
Oh, great handling, great visibility.
Well,
sorry, we're off subject.
No, that's okay. The object of the game is to do this. That you're fine, man.
Yeah, there is another rival into Oshkosh though. For the locals, it's called the prison approach.
The
That's
prison
secret.
approach? Oh, I didn't know about that.
Is it in the NOTAM, Steve?
Nope, it's for the locals.
Oh.
So if you're
And
in
those
the
who have done photo shoots.
and they sequence you in for downwind for 2-7.
Really?
Yep.
Nice. What's the magic? What just have to call in from a certain waypoint or what?
The prison.
Okay.
It's called the prison approach.
All right. Huh. Well, I don't know any other of rival tips other than
Steve.
full fuel. Keep your head on the swivel
Steve.
like wild. Go ahead. I'm sorry, Greg.
Steve giving away the keys to the kingdom.
You got to know how to get in there.
So I wanted to talk also before we run out of time on if you're relatively new, or I'm certainly doing this already, is practicing for the arrival and departure. And I'm, trying to seek out crosswinds. Or let me get rid of this before I show that. Trying to seek out crosswinds and, landing, making sure I can land on the dots and so forth. I also am a huge fan, and I'm very seriously noodling around the idea of maybe in a few weeks having a topic in our Short Wing Wednesday on flight simulators. And I'm a huge fan of using flight simulators to practice procedures and instrument approaches and all that. And I've built a pretty fair flight simulator of my own. And I know that there's this organization called Pilot Edge that every year they host what they call Sim Venture, where what they do is you can have a home simulator and log onto their network and fly the FISC approaches, and you can hear through your computer's headset or even just your computer sound that you're listening to tonight, the real world Oshkosh air traffic controllers controlling your flight simulator along with several hundred other people that are practicing the approach. And it's really quite stunning how well it works. Last year, I think I practiced 15 different FISC arrivals, and the real live air traffic controllers, you're talking to them, they tell you, red and white tri-pacer, rock your wings. And on my home flight simulator in my spare bedroom, I rock the wings, and they can tell that I rocked the wings. That's where technology is nowadays. And I know you can set up a home simulator for less than $500 that you can do this on. Probably less than $300. Or you can set up a home simulator that's that's guaranteed to get you divorced. You can spend that much money too. But for a relatively inexpensive price, you can do it. And I was going to show you there's a video that's only a minute and a half long, but it's kind of a what do you want to call it? Like an advertisement, I guess, for this Sim Venture. This is last year's. They haven't put a new one out yet. Let me just make sure I got the sound on before I do this. And then humor me. It's only a minute and a half long, so I think you'll enjoy this. Check it out.
Welcome to Oshkosh. Sim Venture's beautiful day here at the Oshkosh Regional Airport at Whitman Field. The altimeter is 29 out of 2. The wind is calm. The ceiling and visibility is unlimited. We'll take you out by 9 hours to come off the railroad track. Rock your speed.
Runway 7, a good rock. I'm going to put you on runway 36 right, runway 36 right, clear to land on the red square.
A right turn eastbound now. Start that right turn eastbound. You're going to 18. Follow that east-west road. Good job. Oh, you the man.
Second aircraft, runway left, right turn 150, right or below 1,300.
Follow railroad, runway 27, down on the side of the ground bit, large on that 1.5. Turn the base, crank it around, crank it, start that right turn for me right now, crank it around, we're going to aim for the orange dot, and we're going to keep it airborne to the green. White and black, straight, fast, pass the guy ahead and off your left, then gear down, slow down.
You're clear to land at or beyond the blue dot on 18 right. Start your base turn now.
White Cessna, turn right for the downwind. You're flying to brown Cessna, wing up right base. Gray Grumman, turn your base now, tight turn all the way around to the green dot.
Crank it. I need you to point at that orange dot. I need you to go right to the orange dot. Harder. Keep it airborne until you're on the green dot and set it down on the green dot with a right turn into the grass.
Very good, lock on left. Monitor tower now, 118.5. Welcome to the show. Clear to land, on or after the green dot, right turn into the grass. Follow the flagman, ask for the node, and welcome to Oshkosh.
Rock your way.
Okay, I think you just scared the crap out of me. Thanks, Jim. Thanks for that, Jim.
Yeah, no problem.
Oh man, I saw some really bad turns there. Skidding.
Well, you're on the flight simulator.
Yeah.
And again, I can't emphasize, first of all, it's free to do that. Okay. You can join Pilot Edge and it's a subscription model and all that good stuff. But I'm trying to get out of my screen. For some reason, my YouTube's hung it up. Doggone it. There we go. That week, that sim venture that you just saw, you can fly it for free. They give you 5 hours of free subscription for the air traffic controller. That's what Pilot Edge is live air traffic controllers that you can practice with your home simulator. So if you're interested in that, if y'all are interested in that, I'm happy to come up with a presentation in a couple of weeks on flight simulators. That let me know. Questions or comments? Did I lose you guys?
I have a comment, but it's on a different subject than Oshkosh.
Yeah, we're on open mic right now. Go ahead, Jerry. I'm sorry, I'm running out of time here. I apologize. I've blathered on.
Yeah, I just wanted to know if there's anybody that's planning on attending the air races in New Mexico, September.
Is that what used to be the Reno?
Yes,
Okay.
it's now in Roswell.
I'm
where the aliens are.
Yeah.
I'm about 80% sure I'm going, Jerry.
Okay.
Jim Wood. Yeah.
Just as a comment, I've been talking with the Chamber of Commerce with of Artesia, trying to figure out if we could come up with a similar scenario at the Artesia airport to be able to camp with the planes at the Artesia airport, because they will have a daily shuttle from Artesia, New Mexico, up to the event. And
I'd be interested in that.
And I think it would, because it is about 40 miles. It's not that far. It's a 39-minute drive. And just wondering if there were any other short wingers that were thinking about it.
That sounds interesting to me.
It's
yeah,
a lot.
I've heard that
a lot of
they
fun.
really,
I can tell you that.
Yeah, Mega. Is it pylon racing or it's still drag racing?
Yes and no, it is. Well, they have both. They have stole and pylon.
Cool.
The last year they flew, they did not have the biplane category because they were involved in a civil lawsuit from one of the racers. But the biplanes will be back, so all the categories will be back at the Roswell races.
And it looks like September 10th.
Yes.
10th to the 14th. Cool. Yeah.
and I've heard that, in Reno, they had the Valley of Speed that was way out away from the spectators, where they've redesigned it so that Valley of Speed, where they're doing like 400 miles an hour, some of these planes, is right in front of the spectator stands now. So that's going to be really cool. They just go screaming by you.
Did you say September 10th through the 14th?
Yes.
Thank you.
So if I find out anything else on any options at the other airport, I'll I'll give y'all a buzz.
Cool. Any other
Thank you.
open mic items that we can talk about the last few minutes we have together? I like to make this segment 15 minutes, but I kind of went a little long on Oshkosh. Sorry about that.
Anybody have any good fabric shops in the Midwest they could recommend?
Well, I'm not in the Midwest, but I do fabric. I'm in Tucson, Arizona.
I think Poplar Grove might. I don't know. You'd know better than me, Jason. You know those guys? Poplar Grove Airmotive.
I've been up there. I mean, they basically did an IRAN for me, but I didn't know they'd even did fabric work.
I don't know.
You don't want to try it yourself?
Not really.
Try myself. I got my rudder in the mail on Tuesday. I got a practice kit off of spruce, and I'm just gonna start messing around with
I
it.
have to tell you, fabric work was a lot easier than I thought it was going to be. And
really, okay.
I just did some patches, and I was really pleased with how they turned out.
Melissa, which did you use? We're using the Stewart system. It seems to be very kind.
Dangerous as hell.
And that's actually the system. So my plane I actually got from my great uncle when he passed away. I ended up buying it off of my cousin, and my cousin ground looped it. They'd already done the rib repairs, and so like most of the fabric itself's already done, and the stitching's done, and so like the hard fabric work is done, and they did the first coat of the Stewart system and the primer. It's just the other coats of the primer and then the other parts. And I'm too much of a perfectionist. I just don't want to mess it up. So.
Well, I can tell you from experience, Andy is a friend of mine, the owner of the Stewart Systems. I have done the Randolph, I've done the polyfiber, and I've done the Stewarts. And what I like about Stewarts, the obvious is that it is a very friendly material that is water soluble. It's so easy to work with and clean, and no bad odors, no mask, none of that stuff. Also, it goes on over any fabric or any other paint with no second effect. So,
okay, be careful. If you mix a catalyst with that paint, it is a urethane. It therefore contains isocyanates. It is not safe. It is deadly. I don't care whose system it is. If it's a urethane, if you're mixing a catalyst with it, don't say because it's waterborne, it's safe. It will kill you.
Okay.
All right. Yeah. And I was working over dope. So.
Hey, Jerry, is Andy going to be out there at Oshkosh this year? Jerry, is Stewart's going to have, I would imagine they're going to have something set up out there with workshops.
yes, they will. Most definitely.
Okay. Are you going to Oshkosh, Jason?
Yeah. I'll be there. I was hoping to get it done before then. That's why I'm ambitious. I know. I just about finished up the IRAM's just about done on the engine, and I'm working on the panel as well. I'm doing the interior. I'm that's the last thing. And I've been trying to find someone to finish up the fabric work, and I mean it's basically just the actual the Stewart system finishing that up at this point, because the actual fabric work and stitching is done. But I just don't want to go through all that and then have it look like crap, because then I'll be upset, that it doesn't look the way I want it to
all
look.
over again. Yeah.
You're not really looking for somebody to do fabric work. You're really looking for somebody to paint, it sounds like.
Basically, yeah. Yeah, basically. Yeah. So yeah, it's just I don't know. I'm a mechanic by trade, so like body style paint work is like my polar opposite. So it's not my comfort level. So
you guys think you think it'd be a good topic for one of these Zooms to talk fabric and stitching and painting and finishing? I see a couple nods hit. So all right. We'll see if we can get some volunteers to run it, because I don't know anything about it.
I thought it'd be fun, but then at the same time, I'm like, it's going to be so much work and so much time, and I I just want it to look beautiful when it's done. I know it won't look as beautiful if I do it.
Easier to
I
find
did
a
that-
painter than a fabric
I
person.
did that 2-day fabric workshop in out here at Flaybob.
Mhm.
It was fantastic. It was with the polyfiber system, and we just refabric a plane start, or not a plane, but a wing start to finish. It was great.
Well,
Okay.
yeah, I
Do you
was
think
gonna sign up
Stewart's
for
does
that
something
thing.
like that?
Oh yeah, they'll definitely have some sort of tutorials or something.
Yeah.
They have a whole bunch of like videos and stuff. I've watched all of them. I've called Stewart's a bunch of times. It's just, I've heard horror stories. I've heard great stories, and I'm just like, oh, I just don't want to botch this.
Well, yeah, I mean, I did the whole workshop. It was the whole weekend, like 2 8-hour days. I'm still like, I'm not gonna just like recover my plane,
Yeah, yeah.
In a weekend, you learn enough to be dangerous, but not good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I got 5 years to figure it out. I'm gonna figure it out.
There you go. But tell you what you do. You take, when you cut open an inspection hole, save that fabric, because I do.
Okay.
And I'll tell you what, if you take one that's covered in dope and you light it, you got a torch in your hand. You can't put it out.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
If you light one with stitz or polyfiber, when you take the flame away, it goes out.
Really?
Oh yes, Superflight AirTech Stewart's doesn't do that. It burns.
That's a good commercial right there.
There's a reason I use polyfiber.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I grabbed the polyfiber test kit. I got the book right here. I'm like, when I'm at work, I'm running through this stuff. It seems it seems easy. It seems simple. It's easier than sheet metal. Like it just seems
It's very forgiving process. It's the most forgiving out there.
Yeah. If I can do it, you can do it. Because here's the best trick you'll ever learn. A calibrated iron at 225 degrees will cover a whole lot of screw ups. Yep. Yeah, I got my little like laser pointer or temperature gauge thing or whatever, and I started figuring out the thing and
So
do that.
they tell you how to calibrate your iron. Do it that way.
Yeah. Okay. Cool.
Yeah,
With
they
the-
sell irons too, specific irons that only go to 250.
Cool.
Well, it's got to go to 350 for the final set.
Yeah, 200 and then 300, 350.
Yeah.
It's a whole lot easier than cotton.
Yeah. Right. Yeah. Yeah. Exactly.
Something that I do is I make up a 2x2 frame and cover it with the same fabric and same paint. Every time I paint down the plane, I paint on this frame. Then I leave it sit outside in the sun. When it comes time to punch for strength, I punch the frame so I don't have to fill my plane full of dimples.
Okay, punch test is not authorized on Daycrown. It's not.
That's right.
The punch test, the malt test is not a test for polyester fabric.
Yeah, that's right. I agree.
But
I think this is a great topic to do an evening on. I think that why don't I put this on the short list if that's okay with you guys?
Yeah.
Yes.
Let me just wrap it up because I promised I didn't want to go too far over on timing, just to respect everyone's time. I think on our next session we're going to talk about the follow-up stuff from our Oshkosh planning. And my thought was we talk about performance numbers and tips for different short wings. I know a few folks are interested in that. Just sharing, your any kind of performance numbers, your stall speeds, your glide ratios, your approach speeds for your different aircraft and different configurations and so forth. So I think we'll talk about that next time, and then I'll make a few phone calls to see if maybe we can come up with a good discussion on fabric and so forth.
Yeah.
Who's got any questions or comments or feedback or emotional outbursts or anything before we wrap it up for the night?
Yeah, one question.
Yes, sir.
I'm not sure how many of you are familiar with the short wing Miss Pearl. The owner of, a lot of those mods were not STCs or PMA, etc. But I can vouch for the fact that they greatly enhance different performance features of the short wing Piper. Personally, having done experimentation with some of the stuff. So I would like to know if there would be any interest of the Short Wing Piper Club or individuals in the club to try to acquire all that. The owner is old and he's having physical ailments, and he basically is bowing out, and he would probably sell to the highest bidder. And it is a lot of stuff that he's developed in fairings and speed mods for the Short Wing Pipers. And I've spoken with him, but I didn't know if there would be probably an interest on behalf of the club or individuals in the club to actually acquire all that from the owner.
I haven't talked to Franco lately, but most of those mods came from Jim Youngkin's Mystery Pacer.
What was the name of it again? Miss
I didn't understand that.
Franco Sporandio is the guy that did Miss Pearl.
Right.
Miss Pearl was a copy of Jim Youngkin's Mystery Pacer.
Mm-hmm.
Those speed mods and all those fairings were done by Jim Youngkin.
Yes.
Franco just copied them.
So still, it'd be good to be able to acquire that.
Most of what he has, most of what he has are, there's a lot of field approvals in there.
That's correct.
That you could use as a basis, but you still have to get a field approval to duplicate them.
Yep.
Yes.
How much speed can you gain on a tri-pacer?
The biggest performance differences I discovered was sealing the elevator and rudder gaps and duplicating the flap gap seals to the aileron bay. And it really increased the aileron authority and the climb rate. Surprisingly, the climb rate improved a lot. Speed was not so much on the top end, but the climb rate changed quite a bit with the aileron gap seals.
Is it? Well, Franco's airplane was extremely heavy. The guy that owns that now is in Colorado, and he wants to sell it. By the way, if you know anybody wants to buy it, that was a 53 that was converted from a tri-pacer to a pacer, and that airplane weighs over 1,300 pounds empty. So if you want to make it climb, just take weight out.
Steve, I've got one question. Do you have a reference on the FAR on the cross feed of the fuel tanks?
No, I'll have to look it up. I'll get you the CFR on that.
Okay, thanks.
Yep. Chober also knows.
Yeah, I'd like to hear that too. Just Steve, maybe you can post that next time or something like that. Cool.
Yep, no problem.
All right, folks, I'm going to wrap things up. There any other closing comments? I think we're going to button it up for the night. Let me stop the recording if you want to.
Thanks for hosting.
Yeah, thank you, Jim.
Thanks, Jim.
Yeah, my pleasure, guys. We'll see you in a couple weeks.
Thanks a lot, Jim.
See you.
Thanks. See ya.